Welcome to the Passive Mobile Home Park Investing Podcast with your host, Andrew Keel. This is the podcast where you can get the education you need to invest 100% passively in the highly profitable niche of mobile home parks.
Welcome to the Passive Mobile Home Park Investing Podcast. This is your host, Andrew Keel, and today we have an amazing guest in one of my friends, Mr. Corey Woodruff of CMH Capital. But before we dive in, I want to ask you all a real quick favor. Would you mind taking an extra 30 seconds and heading over to iTunes to rate this podcast with 5 stars? This helps us get more listeners, and it means the absolute world to me. So thank you for making my day with that review of the show. All right, let's dive in. Corey currently owns and operates 1,600 lots with another 1,200 set to close over the next 60 days. Corey used to work as a president of sales in the RV travel world before leaving his full-time 6-figure paying job in August of 2020 to go into mobile home parks full-time. Corey has a large mobile home park wholesaling business in addition to his current holdings. He also has 3 kids, 3 dogs, and is getting married in August of 2021. Corey, welcome to the show.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Let's dive right into the questions here. Can you tell us about your story and how you got into manufactured housing?
So, long story short, I grew up in an extremely poor family. Not just parents, uncles, aunts, cousins, everybody just seemed to struggle. So obviously I was told the same thing that everybody else was told, which was you go to college and you're going to be a millionaire. So I did that. Quickly realized that was not the case, but I finished. I wrestled, so I finished. I got my degree, and when I came home, I realized very fast that having a college degree does not mean you are going to be a millionaire. So I got my job in sales, technically, not using my degree, and I did really well. So I saved up some money, and I wanted to flip houses. That was kind of my vision. And then I quickly realized with a 400 credit score and 20,000 in cash, you were not going to be flipping mobile home or flipping houses. So I had a terrible credit score and I only had 20 grand. And like I said, I didn't know private money existed. So, I went to this mobile home park and said, hey, I have 20 grand. I want to fix up these 10. I picked the crappiest mobile home park in town. I said, hey, I want to fix up these abandoned homes. He had like 20 of them, and I was like, I'll give you $100 each and I'll fix them up. And he's like, no, he didn't want to do it. So I went back to him a month later, and about 2 months later, and I had 40 at that time, maybe 50. I had 50,000 at that time. And he said, look, keep 10 grand in your pocket, give me 40, I'll finance the rest. I didn't know anything about mobile home parks, but I knew that real estate people, they always had money. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to buy this thing and just see what happens. And then once I purchased it, I found Frank and Dave's course. I took the course, and so we bought it at $250, and we sold 50% of it for $750,000 last year. And so I still own 50% of it, and we sold it for $750. So I did good on it. Yeah, so that's
man. And that was your very first one.
Yeah,
that was your very first one, and that was in Michigan?
Yep, that was in Michigan. Still own it today. It's a great park. But that was in Michigan. And so I bought that 5 years ago, and, been here. Now I'm here.
Awesome. Corey, what has been the toughest hurdle for you in the business?
The toughest hurdle, I would say, the attention to detail. So I'm not an attention to detail kind of guy. I'm a go out and buy 20 homes in 3 days and work it out later kind of guy. So I think if you were to speak to all my investors, they'll say Corey's trustworthy. Corey will do anything we ask him to do. He works really hard. He makes us money. But God, if we graded Corey on organization and attention to detail, I'd say a C-. You know what I mean? So I naturally I spent money to surround myself with people that do have attention to detail, or that don't want me to yell at them, so they pay good attention to detail. But it's gotten much better over time. But it was extremely stressful, feeling like I was letting people down by not paying attention to detail. So that's been my biggest hurdle, because the details matter. The one permit you miss, in my Mansfield park, we were hauling in homes, and little did we know we were missing a permit, and it was a nightmare dealing with it. We're still dealing with it today. Trying to get all these fixed. So that was something I let my investor down on. So that wasn't an enjoyable experience. But attention to detail is important. It's just not my strength. So we do, what guys like us do is we surround ourselves with people that have attention to detail.
Totally. Yeah. How do you handle the management of your parks and your current 1,600 lots?
Yeah. So we obviously have on-site managers for each. So those on-site managers are dealing with the smaller stuff, making sure the home goes on the right lot, making sure the electricians are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And then we have 3 people in office that just this week we separated into regions now. So, we own enough in, Illinois now to where, Illinois and Iowa to where one person just deals with Illinois and Iowa, one person deals with Michigan and Ohio, and so on and so forth. So we've kind of split them up into regions now.
Awesome. And how often do you or someone from your team visit those parks?
Yeah, I don't necessarily like to travel, but it gives me time to kind of game plan. So I really enjoy driving. So I've been out to my Iowa and Illinois ones twice in 2 weeks. And buying homes, but still stopping in. So usually it's me doing the on-site stuff. Just because I feel like if I'm managing at 1,000-foot view over the 3 people that are managing the managers, if I'm not on site to see what's going on, then really I don't really know a lot of what's going on. That's just how I do it. I'm not saying other people that do it differently are wrong. It's just I'm the one who's usually doing the on-site stuff.
For sure. So I just want to clarify. So you have 1,600 lots with 1,200 closing in the next 60 days, and you got a 3-person team and yourself managing it. I mean, you got to be on a hiring frenzy to account for 1,200 more lots, right?
Yeah. No, it's gonna get a little crazy here in the next 60 days for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us, how do you get 1,200 lots, closing at one time? How do you find all these deals? I think that's probably the number one question you probably get asked by people in the Facebook groups and things that we're a part of. You seem to have a never ending supply of deal flow. What's your secret?
Yeah, it's like, the timeshare sales world is a very quick and go hard, sales process. And I watched a lot of people fail because they overcomplicated the process. And, we would have guys that would take a sales presentation and take 4 hours. I got mine done in 45 minutes. And I sold way more than them. So anyway, so my point is I learned there that simple is better. So basically when you break down how to get more deals, it's just simplify it. So the more calls you make, the more hours you call equals the more calls you make, which equals the more people you're going to talk to, which means the more people that you're going to find to sell. But finding the people that are wanting to sell in the cold call game, a lot of people think that's where the process stops, and it isn't. So these people, sometimes it is literally as simple. Last week, we had a guy that said he wasn't going to sell for the next 2 years. So we scheduled him for 3 months later. We called him 3 months later, and he had just broke his leg. Obviously that's an unfortunate event for him, but it was enough to set him off. And he was like, hey, I just broke my leg. I'm going to be in a cast for the next 6 months or whatever. I'm 75 years old. I'm done. So we have a signed contract today for seller financing. So I'm out here in Illinois, and we're signing a contract for seller financing and deal for Virginia. So it's the follow-up that's the most crucial part. And it's like I was telling somebody the other day, the price, and it's something I'm sure you ran into too, where you've talked to somebody over the course of a year 5 or 6 times. They've been good conversations. You've been emailing them, all that. And it's like these old mom and pop owners are not always necessarily looking for the highest bid. They're looking for a fair price, and they're also looking for someone that's going to take care of their baby for the next 30 years. So when you portray yourself, and we are, right? We're not going to take care of the property, but when you portray yourself as that and you become more of a grandson to them or a child to them, they're more likely to want to deal with you. So when you relate to these people, just as in timeshare sales, my goal was always to become their grandkid or their child while I'm there. And that seemed to have worked. So building a relationship and making sure you follow up and just hitting the dialer, man.
That's awesome. What other similarities have you seen carry over from your time in the timeshare sales world that, maybe you use today?
Rejection. So in the timeshare world, you are lights out. You are considered amazing if you're getting told no 7 of 10 times. So if you're getting told no 7 to 10 times, you're a legend in that business. And it's funny, but I mean, 100 people, and 80 of them or 90 of them tell us no. That just does not faze me these days, or I'm used to it. That's just the world I've lived in the last 7 years.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. Corey, what are the most important things that passive investors, limited partners, need to look out for when investing into mobile home parks?
I would say, the hidden infrastructure costs. Is that kind of what you're referring to? Like when people are putting money in with guys like myself, what do they have to look for?
Yeah, just what things, on the surface level would they not know, if they were coming from a different asset class, right? And they're chasing yields, they found mobile home parks, they heard that the returns are great, what on the surface level, they might not see some of the, items like you're talking about, infrastructure.
Yeah, the infrastructure, the tenant base is much different. And also, I always tell every investor that ever invests with me, I say, hey, here are the returns that we're targeting. But these projects will always give you heartburn a lot more than cash flow for the first 6 months. So I always tell them that. I mean, we can almost make any park look great when looking at a pro forma, right? And then you get into them and there's just, multiple other things. So, I always just let everybody know that, not every deal is perfect. A pro forma shows 100% collections, that kind of stuff. I mean, you have to deal with the good and the bad on it,
Yeah, no, totally. What is the CMH Capital deal criteria, and why?
Yeah. So, I mean, deal criteria, we like to see, a 20% cash on cash return on it. We like to see majority tenant owned homes. And we like to see, paved roads, city water, city sewer, and we like to be in major metros. But it seems like, these cities, I'm sure you're familiar, your own parks in Minnesota, but it seems like some of these cities in Minnesota don't have metros, but they have a great growing population. They have great median home price. They have good incomes. And it seems like some of those cities without metros are work just fine as well. So, the city and the metro doesn't mean as much to me as the statistics that come with it,
Yeah.
But after these 1,200 close, I think we're going to be looking for the big boys now. That's where we're going to be.
Very nice. I guess I'll follow it up with this one then. What does the perfect mobile home park look like in your eyes, and why?
Yeah, 100 spaces or above, all tenant owned homes, 100% full, and $150 below lot rent.
Yeah. Man, if you find any of those, you better bring them to me first, right?
No doubt.
Corey, what common mistakes do new operators make?
I think they expect perfection, but don't plan for the imperfection of mobile home parks. I think that's the big one. And I also think the space is so hot that people just want to buy their first deal, and they'll buy it any way they can. And I think some of these deals that people are buying, I think are not going to go well because they're just trying to get in the space to say they're in the space. And I know that because I used to kind of play like that. When I was just getting started, I just wanted more. And there was like 5 deals that fell apart on me in year 2 that just devastated me. And I always like to go back to the deals that I used to look at when I was, I say younger, but younger in the business. I mean, I've been in the business 5 years. I'm still not an expert, not even close. And And I like to look back at those deals and evaluate the deals that I wanted to do really bad. And I just look at them and I think, oh my gosh, I'm so happy those didn't go through because we'd be struggling with them. So I think that's the main thing. And I think, I like doing that because it also shows my growth. My investors really like the fact when we pitch them a deal and they say, hey, I want to do the deal. And then I dig into it a little bit more and I'm like, no, we're not doing that. We're going to move on. And they like that because, obviously guys like us, we get paid an acquisition fee. So we're motivated to close deals. We get paid management fees and that kind of stuff. They obviously like that we turn deals away just as you do, I'm sure, so yeah.
Yeah, some can be more of a headache than than you expect. So definitely,
Absolutely.
making sure due diligence is done is a huge importance, most definitely. Corey, what hurdles does the manufactured housing industry face moving forward?
I think I don't know. That's a tough question.
Yeah, with inflation or maybe a $15 minimum wage, how do you think those things would affect your day to day?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Obviously, I worry about inflation, but I mean, it seems as though as stuff gets more expensive, I mean, it seems like affordable housing is something that's going to be even more of a hot commodity to have, and watching how well mobile home parks compared to other commercial real estate during COVID. I mean, I guess maybe I'm a little bit too optimistic about mobile home parks, but I mean, I think the challenges are what they are. I mean, obviously when the economy gets bad, everybody suffers. But even then, I mean, affordable housing becomes more of a hot commodity, when things are bad, Yeah, I'm not real sure how to answer that. What would you say to that? I guess let me learn from you a little bit.
Hey, you turn the tables. I like it.
Yeah, I just don't have
No, I
really
think you got some good insights there, right? I mean, as recession resistant as the asset class is, I think we saw that during COVID. When people were out of work and laid off, people kind of go down a level, right? Like the Class A moves into Class B to C, Class C to mobile home parks, and our occupancy levels stayed high. So I think kind of what you said, affordable housing is always in need, whether it's a recessionary time when people are moving down, and then also in times that are good, right? Like home prices right now are through the roof, so people can't afford a new house. So this is a good option for them.
One of the things. Okay, I have I think a good answer for this one. It's a tough question, but it's not something that I do, and I don't think it's something that I see you doing. But I think some of these guys that are buying at market rents at a 5 cap, and plan on steadily increasing over 10 years, I think some of those purchases could end up getting in trouble if the economy crashes and their appraisals aren't coming in as aggressive on cap rate, and their balloons pop and they can't get their money out because their appraised value isn't coming in, and they also can't hold it because their balloons coming due and nobody will do the financing on it because the appraisal isn't matching. So I think that could be an issue later on down the road, because I mean the strategy is great in a great economy. You buy at a 5 and you do your market research and you see the comps all selling at 4.5s and 5s, and you raise rents on 200 tenants $10 every year for 10 years and then sell it at a 5, you win, right? You win. You get good returns like that. But if they wait too long and in year 10 they go to refinance and the market crashes, you're screwed. You're not going to get the appraisal you're hoping for. Maybe they appraise at a 7 or an 8 and you're breaking even or you're losing money. So I think that's a danger,
Oh, totally. Yeah. Corey, what's the value proposition at CMH Capital, and what makes you guys different?
I think what makes us different is I don't know about different, but what makes us special. I mean, there's plenty of people out there that are just like us. What makes us special, I think, is we go above and beyond to find deals. We call nonstop. I mean, I think myself as the CEO, I spent 4 days and 4 days out of 7 in Iowa last week, and we did really well buying homes. So on Monday, I left again, and I'll be gone for another 5 days to buy homes. So, we filled 25% of our vacant lots in our 3-park portfolio we just bought in 1 week. And that's 70 lots that we have to fill, and we're hoping to, fill another 25% this time. So I just think the work ethic. I mean, my refusal to grow up or to live like how I grown up, and make money. I think that helps. And then we're trustworthy. If we see something on a deal and we realize that us taking 30% ownership isn't going to get the investors the return we want, then we go a little bit lower to make sure it works for them. I would say that. Like I said, I don't think it makes us different, but I think it makes us special.
Yeah, no, I think one thing about you, Corey, and your company is just you are a hustler, man. I mean, I always see you, out on the road and, getting deals out there through your wholesaling. And, I know we just closed on one that you assigned to us. That was a good deal. So, yeah, keep it up, man. You're doing a good job, and it's awesome to see and, see as you mature in the business and continue to acquire. It's pretty great. So
yeah,
Corey,
cool. I appreciate it. I was just trying to catch you, man.
You caught me, man. You got me now. You got more lots than I do. Corey, tell me this. How can listeners get a hold of you if they would like to do so?
Yeah, Facebook. My email is Corey@CMHCapitalInc.com. Those are usually my best. I've had a couple people get a little bit upset because they've emailed me and they didn't get a response for a week, but we're trying our best to keep up with everything. And sometimes when it's an email that doesn't involve the parks, it does get pushed off a little bit. But so I apologize for anyone that emails that doesn't get a response right away, but it's the way it is right now.
Hey, you got to prioritize the deals, right?
Yeah.
I totally get that. Well, thank you so much, Corey, for coming on the show. It was a pleasure having you. That's it for today, folks. Thank you all so much for tuning in.
All right. Thanks, man.
Would you like to see mobile home park value add projects in progress? If so, follow us on Instagram @PassiveMHPInvesting for photos and awesome videos from our recent mobile home park acquisitions. Once again, that's @PassiveMHPInvesting on Instagram. See you there.